as you focus on your goals. You know, a lot of people in life are just going through the motions, you know, and sometimes as leaders we have to just kind of be a little bit different. And I think that you're a very different, unique individual.
Well, you know what is hard because I it's cool that you started with the place of separation. Um, I separate so I can elevate, and it's not elevating me; it's elevating them. Because you know, Jocko Willink talks about this in his book, Extreme Ownership, and he talks about how a lot of times decisions get made because leaders can't detach from the situation or the problem. And so I've noticed that, you know, and this is like when I first took over the platoon when I was in Kuwait, it was one of those things where I was in there, you know, and I'm like, I'm seeing stuff, and I'm like, you know, you kind of want to get in there, you want to be buddy buddy, right? You want to be like, oh yes, I'm the good one, I'm the nice one, because people already they see me reserved, they see me with a, you know, a face that's just, I'm not mean, but both of my parents do have a very stern face, you know, and so I'm like, you know, I'm trying to get in there, but I realize if I'm too far in, I can't solve the problems that they need me to solve, and there's a certain resolve that is attached to that. And so I noticed the more disciplined I was. So, you know, I would, because when I was in Kuwait, and still to this day, I'll get up around 04:05 in the morning. I'll go for a run. I'll go for a workout. I'll do something like that. And it's one of those things where when you're doing something like that, it's like people look at you crazy. But I remember when I was in that dark place and I was fat and I was 250 pounds. And a lot of people look at me and they're like, no, you weren't fat. And I was like, if I keep this going, like, what if? You know, and
Yeah.
every time that I'm like, what if you keep going? What if you do another mile? What if you stay consistent? Is this going to go into everything else that you do and change your life? And I started to realize like this is life changing stuff because it was normal for me at that point. I had created the rhythm. I had dropped, you know, the 60 pounds. I had created the battle rhythm that I was doing that anyway. And so, you know, COVID happened over there. We ain't had no gym. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to get innovative and get back to the basics. That's one of the greatest things is the military teaches you basics. Everything that you learn from basic, you can carry that over. But a lot of people lose their way, you know, and it's hard, right? That's where the emotional intelligence comes in, right? People don't care, you know, necessarily, you know, after a while, they're like, okay, I'm tired of the system. But when you look at self, that's when you realize you can spark the change. And I'm like, it starts with me. It starts with you. It starts with all of the habits that you've set. You just got to take that and you got to turn it. In the military, we have what are called azimuths. So you just got to take that and you got to turn it 2 degrees. 2 degrees of an azimuth sends you in a totally different direction.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got that same energy when you tilt that azimuth and you're intentional about where you want to go, that's when everything starts to fall in line. It's
Right.
that intentionality. So what is one of the, I know I kind of got off on a tangent there. What
Oh,
is
you're all right.
one of the strange things that you've noticed that you were kind of like, why does he do this?
All right, so and this ain't to put your business out there on Front Street
No, you good,
with
brother.
all your audience out there, but so like we were talking a little bit earlier, so you know, at some point in your life, you made this conscious decision to live in your car and be an Uber driver.
Okay.
So that's not a decision that most people make. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even when they have their eye on the prize, you know, most people are thinking about, especially when they get done from work, they want to go home and have their own time, you
Mm-hmm.
know, do their own thing, you know. And then earlier you were talking also about how you know, right now you're donating plasma to make that extra
Mm-hmm.
money. You're hustling in your regular 9 to 5, making good.